have come public. There are 12 more out there hiding low in the weeds in Europe that you have not heard about yet.
Wow. Representative Garrett joining us now from Washington. Also with us by phone, Democratic Representative Gary Ackerman of New York. Scott Garrett, first to you. Have you been given information by Harry Markopolos about those 12 feeder funds overseas?
No, we haven't gotten that information from him, but it really shone a light on the situation, how amazing it is that he was able to get that information, whereas we have been still trying to get that very basic information from the SEC, and as you indicated at the top of this piece, that they were not going to be forthcoming and explaining exactly what they knew and how they knew it and when they knew about these things, all because of the defense of there's an investigation going on. But when he said that he has this information going on, it was fascinating that he was able to develop all that over a short period of time.
It wasn't. Now, I don't know if you just heard Michael Okron, who, of course, was mentioned by Harry a number of times today in his testimony. Michael saying that there may be an occasion where the SEC feels cornered and some of them are striking out at innocent investors. Is it conceivable, and are you guys in Congress monitoring the SEC to make sure that does not happen?
Oh, absolutely. At this point, I think all lights will be shining on the SEC to see what they've done in the past, what are they doing now, and certainly whether changes definitely will be made with that organization, and of course the whole larger issue of regulatory reform going forward. We, as a matter of fact, just received a letter, the chairman and myself, from the new head of the SEC, Shapiro, indicating that she recognizes that so many of our questions were not answered in this hearing today, and that they were fundamental questions going to the questions that Americans across the country want to know.
Congressman, let me just read some of that letter. The Commission staff and I believe that it is possible to serve those interests while not impeding the integrity of ongoing civil and criminal investigations. For that reason, I hope that I can set up a prompt meeting with you so that we can determine a course forward that will meet all of our interests. Well, it seems cordial enough.
It seems cordial enough. I certainly appreciate the fact that she sent that letter, and I certainly appreciate the fact that we can set this going forward. Obviously, the questions out there is why that wasn't done prior to the hay, so we could have spent, let me see, the meeting started at 9:30, went until 2 o'clock or something like that. All those hours, I think all the members and the American public as well would have liked to have that time all focused on some of these fundamental issues as opposed to some of the side issues that we had to delve into instead. But I'm open, optimistic that now we can actually have this hearing and get to the bottom of some more of these issues.
Well, and Congressman Ackerman, one of those issues was raised today, the question of whether, and really nobody believes this anymore, but whether Bernie Madoff does, as he said, acted on his own behalf just by himself, doing all of these things that he did. Harry Markopolos spoke to that point today. Here's what he said.
He had a lot of help. He had a robust information technology department that made sure the financial statements he sent out to clients each month footed, because a lot of these are retirees. They check those things and they make sure that they matched the penny. He also had people taking in money, wire transfers from new victims, and sending out money to the existing clients, the old victims, if you will. So he had a lot of help.
So, Congressman, it sounds like there might be maybe not a paper trail per se, but a computer trail of who else might be involved. Any word on that, Congressman?
We don't know the answer to that yet, but the suspicion, as you point out, is very, very strong that there's a conspiracy of people around Bernie Madoff, and it can't be a too small a group. It's not going to be a very large group either. But absolutely, Mr. Markopolos is right. This could not have been done by one person, as Mr. Madoff said. I think the whole way he turned himself in was all set up as well.
Now, there are two groups of people, I guess, that you're focusing on. One, the group of people that actually worked with Bernie Madoff on a day-to-day basis, who have apparently computer records, and hopefully the feds have those records. And then the feeder funds that Markopolos was also talking about, people like Ezra Merkin, who had one of those feeder funds, Ascot, and there are dozens, literally dozens of these feeder funds. Are you working on all fronts to try to track down whether he had any help?
Well, we will be, but keep in mind, we don't do the investigation. Our oversight is over the SEC. And I should tell you that I got a call immediately upon leaving the hearing from Chairman Shapiro. And she told me, and was very, very apologetic, keeping in mind that she's been on this job for 6 days. And she was as offended as we were by the people who worked for her and the way they presented themselves before our committee. And the indication I got is some of those people will not be employed before the week is out.
Interesting, interesting. Well, Scott Garrett, he was specific in saying the SEC has been hiring the wrong people for years. This is not a one-party thing or the other. It goes back through generations, literally. They've been focusing more on hiring the lawyers and less on hiring financial experts like Markopoulos, like Michael Ocran, and other people who know what they're looking for.
Yes, and this is the dilemma that you get into in this situation, is that you want the very best people to be in this position as regulator, to be able to step up to the plate, to actually understand the complex derivatives and other products that are changing all the time going forward. But the flip side of that dilemma is the fact that if you're really good at this, well, you're probably going to be the ones that the private sector is going to know about and say, well, I have a job for you at a much higher pay. And I've heard this from so many people on the street. They say, when we find somebody that's actually doing a great job over at one of these regulatory agencies, of course, that's the ones that we're going to be trying to see whether we can lure them in. And I think that's will be always the dilemma that you have with a regulatory agency, regardless of what changes we make to the system.
Well, hey, guys, I have somebody sitting right here at this table, Michael Ocran, who saw through Bernie Madoff and was highly recommended by Markopoulos today. Would you like to work for the SEC?
I don't know, and I don't know if I'm the right person, but I think the problems though are a lot deeper. I really do. Again, talking to this former enforcement official, he told me, for example, the SEC at one point basically said they don't want to work with CPAs, accountants, because they would interfere with an investigation.
They don't want to work with CPAs who might be able to read the numbers like they couldn't?
Exactly. And so this was in a couple of specific cases he was talking about, because he said they would interfere with the investigation. So I think a lot of it is really a deep bureaucratic, structural, and institutional problem.
Congressman Ackerman, this agency seems like it needs a total revamping. Wouldn't you agree?
I think this agency is an absolute nightmare. It's almost as if they didn't want to catch anybody that was doing any wrong, contrary to their mandate. I think what's going to have to happen here is the chairman is going to have to clean out the shop and put people in who are serious about investigating and following up on leads. And I think that now that the dam is burst, and it's a very big dam, I think you're going to see a lot of cases. I think that we're going to have to, in addition to rewriting the manual for them, what they do and how they do it, we're going to have to provide a lot more money for investigators, serious investigators, not the Keystone cops that they've had going at this past few years.
All right, gentlemen, we got to leave it at that. But first of all, you're going to get a phone call from somebody at the SEC. I'm sure Mary Shapiro is going to be calling up Michael Ocran.
I have met with the IG.
Harry Markopoulos, by this way, said he's busy for the next 2 years. But gentlemen, Congressman, I have to compliment you too. I very rarely compliment politicians inside the Beltway, but the way the Republicans and Democrats work together on this committee to try to get to an answer of what happened and to prevent it from happening in the future was really extraordinarily well done. So congratulations both to Scott Garrett and to Gary Ackerman. Thank you very much for coming in, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
I appreciate it. And we want to know what you think. Today's Markopoulos hearings on the Hill. A buy, a sell, or a hold? Text us your message, 369-249. Your answer's coming up. Also, Markopoulos said today